And in the head of night. Oh Lord. I've been waiting for this moment for all my oh Lord. Mm, mm, mm. Oh man. Yeah, it was a good season. It was a good season, everybody. Yep. Oh man, I'm perched. I'm parched. Oh man. Yeah. So finally watched the last episode. Oh man. Oh, woo. Yeah, I watched it. I watched it. Man. I just took it so personal because I was watching, episode one, episode two. It was doing so good. It was doing so good. And here we are. And here we are. Man. Oh, I'm gonna miss those guys, man. Des, DC, Shamar, for real. Brian Pierce Johnson, Brian Pierce Johnson, Josh Phillips, and the guy don't ever, and the guy that don't ever play. He always on the phone. He always on the phone just texting. I don't know his name, but I'm gonna miss him too. Man, I tell you, this is really rough. Hey, what up, though? It's your main man. Let me stop playing. It's your main man. You already know what it is, man. It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. Hey, what's going on, y'all? So I finally checked out the season finale, and yeah, I'm a little upset. Now my eyes was watering when I was watching the episode. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't too tough to say that. I don't know if it was like some like lotion because I put some lotion on my face. Some lotion on my. You probably can still see it. My face greasy in the mud. I had put some lotion in my face and it like got in my eye area, so I wouldn't know. I didn't know if it was like tears or like was I actually crying. Like I don't even know. I don't even know. But I felt emotional though. I felt emotional, man. Wonderful job. Wonderful job to, I want to say his name is Greg McDonald. It's probably not his name. The producer of the season. What a wonderful, captivating season. Anyway, man, this was a tough one. So the final game came down to East LA versus West LA. And I want to just point out some things I noticed. Again, Coach Mosley, first off, I want to give him the utmost respect because this is more than a game of basketball. This is about mentorship and it's about sacrifice. I mean, he's sacrificing time with his family to get his guys together. He has a son, he has two daughters, if I'm not mistaken. He's sacrificing time away from them to help somebody else's children. So, the most selfless act is what I'm seeing or what I saw on display. So, the utmost respect to Coach Mosley. Now, looking at things from a critical standpoint, he just got out coached. He got out coached. He did not do any of the things I expected. If you would have, if you would have showed me this Mosley, maybe after I watched episode 2 or 3, I would have said, "You're kidding me. This is not the same Mosley." I felt like he either wanted to leave it up to fate, or he felt as if he had done all that he can do, say all that he could say. I felt like maybe he was exhausted. This was the end of the season. He had went on so much of a roller coaster that he just like, look, I've done everything I can do. And the problem is that was not true. Um, West LA versus East LA. Here is the difference in approach. First off, this was a dogfight. This was not a basketball game. If they wanted to, they could have taken the basketball, put it in the locker room, and just brought out swords because it was a battle. It had nothing to do with basketball. It was a battle. And I want to say that West LA just came out with way more confidence. They came out with a much greater sense of urgency. East LA looked as if they were in a boxing match, and and the first punch they took left them dizzy, and they could not shake off the butterflies. They couldn't shake off the stars. They were rocked from round one. There was no point in this game where I felt like East LA could do something special. And I have to do this. I don't want to do this, but I have to say that Brian Penn Johnson did what he had to do. When you're on a team that's about to lose in the playoffs, you got to get yours. And he kind of did that in a way. He just had some moments and some glares in the game where he just went off and was a dominant force on a losing team, and that is, in my opinion, a great strategy. That's how you get the eyes of the scouts, even in a losing effort, right? Because the conventional wisdom is that you have to win in order to even gain the scouts' attention. But if they see this huge guy, this huge specimen going off on a losing team or a team that is losing, that's going to grab scouts' attention as well. But yeah, it was tough from the first round. Now I'll tell you the difference between East LA and West LA. Here's the difference. In the locker room, Coach Mosley said the following: "Guys, we got to get rebounds. The game is going to come down to rebounds." That was that was about it. That was the crux of his speech. That was it. That was the peak, the apex, the climax of his strategy, of according to the edited version of the show. Now I don't know what else he said, but based on the edited version of the show, that was the crux of his speech. Guys, we have to get rebounds. And he said other things too, like guys, this game is really important. Guys, if we win, I've already set up my itinerary. If we when we win, mm-mm, that's not it. X's and O's. I've been saying this for a little while now. Coach Mosley has to get stronger in the X's and O's. He's a master at motivation. He's a master at interpersonal relationships. He's a master at motivation. Now he has to master the X's and O's. I don't care how rah-rah your team is. If you don't master the X's and O's, they're gonna fall short every single year. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna go against a coach that understands the X's and O's. So your guys, they're gonna come to battle with swords. They're gonna kick the door down. They're gonna have their swords, their shields. They're gonna be like, hey, and the X's and O's coach, he's gonna have already drench the floor in gasoline, and all he's gonna do is open the window and throw a match in, and all the rah rah is gonna get burned to flames because that's what it is. You got to have strategy. And then when you go to the West LA side, I loved his speech. Now it wasn't X's and O's, I'll give you that, but I loved his speech in comparison to Coach Mosley because when I heard both coaches' speech, I put myself in the place of a player. And when I heard Mosley's speech, I said, he don't sound too confident. Like he doesn't really believe in what he's saying. Rebounding, like we're about to go against West LA in the regional whatever, the regional playoffs, whatever. We're about to go against in the regionals. That's it. All I gotta do is rebound. I mean, that sounds good in theory, but it just seems like it's lacking something. And then I put myself in the West LA coach locker room, and he was just a different animal, a different animal. One of the most gravitating things that the West LA coach said was, uh, he was like, guys, you don't owe me anything. And that was the most amazing thing to hear. I put myself in a player's role. He said, guys, you don't owe me anything. You got us to the Sweet 16. We have a, what was it, 25-3 record. You guys have done your job. You played amazing basketball this year. You don't owe me anything. And that is the kind of thing that you want to hear your coach tell you. Guys, you've already done a great job. It's already too late to do bad. And then he said, you owe it to yourself. Man, when I heard him say that, when you compare that to, hey, guys, you got to get rebounds. Guys, you don't owe me anything. You've already done a good job. You owe it to yourself. Rebounds, you've already did a good job. Rebounds, you already did a good job. You don't owe me nothing. I like this one better. All right, and that is, I think the that was the deciding factor. Not just that, but I'm just saying that was a huge and pivotal point, and it contributed greatly to how the guys came out. I'll also point out something within the locker rooms itself. When I was watching the guys in the locker room for Mosley, like I said, this is my guy right here. I don't, Brandon. Brandon was on his phone texting in the middle of Mosley's speech, and then when I looked at the other locker room, there was a guy reading a book called How to Think Positively. Can you believe that? I'm telling you, this guy right here. I'm not even joking. All right, you can't see that. Let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, here you go. Here you go. Look at that. The power of positive thinking. Now, this is not a quiz, but I'll pose a question. What locker room do you think is going to have a more productive outing? The one that's texting on the phone, checking the IG, or the one that's reading The Power of Positive Thinking? You need some time? Because I don't need any time. I already know the answer. I think guys forget, basketball players forget that the game doesn't start on the court. The game starts the minute you walk into preseason training. The tempo, the attitude, the climate, the what was it? The culture, right? The climate and the culture. How it feels when you walk in. How does it feel in practice? The back talking. Every single thing counts. All right. So anyway, West LA. Mm-mm-mm. West LA beat the brakes off this team, and it wasn't that surprising. Again, for the points or the reasons why I stated, this coach right here, Truck, man, amazing coach, and it was kind of cool to see him and Coach Mosley face up because they're basically the same person. They're in the same. They're like they're literally the same person. It felt like you got East versus West. It just felt like they were mirror images of each other. They came from the same struggle, the same background. They got the same players. I'll also say that when I saw West LA and East LA on the court together, there was a significant difference in physique. I'm not sure what it was. I thought that East LA was taller lengthwise, but West LA was wider, and they were more. They were dogs. And in the basketball world, when you hear someone say somebody's a dog, it's not literal, obviously. It's more or less they are scrappy, and they're not going to just allow you to punk them, bully them. I think it was number 0 who was getting checked by DC. It was DC. As a matter of fact, now that I remember, number 0 just plopped him off with like a slight shoulder nudge, and DC went flying. And then he went into the hole and is trying to go up for, I believe, a layup, and I believe somebody clotheslined him basically. And we know what the coach said, Coach Truck. Coach Truck said, next time, kick him in his teeth or something like that. I was like, bro, they some dogs. Like, he didn't say, hey, man, stay positive, keep it together. Coach Truck said, next time he do that, kick him in the mouth, kick him in the face. He said, kick him in the MF face. I don't know, man. Call me crazy, but that's the kind of like that kind of coach. If you got that coach behind you, he already happy for he not even asking you to do nothing else. He's like, look, you already did your job, and he's willing to go to war, go to war behind you, man. Coach Truck was doing it for me this episode. I don't know Coach Truck, but I really just felt his passion. I felt it, and he talked a lot about discipline. Texting during practice is not discipline. You know what I mean? It's just not. Not like Brandon. Brandon, I feel like Brandon is somebody I would have been cool with. We probably would have been cool at the same age. I think Brandon's probably like 21, 22, something like that. If I'm that age, me and Brandon, we hitting the mall, we trying to, what I'm saying, mac on something. But in the basketball setting, I'm like, Brandon, show some discipline, show some respect or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what happened, man. West LA got busy and beat the brakes off this team. And we got to talk about it. I didn't really want to talk about this. I didn't. But man, Damani had a really rough outing. And I've been on Damani's bandwagon for a long time now. This was one of his worst games of the season. He did not do good whatsoever. But it's been my guy, man. It's not so much I'm gonna say about him because I just appreciate his character. I appreciate his heart. He did not do a good job. He was playing out of his character, and I think that the moment was too big for him in that particular instance. He felt like he had to save the game because this game was so important to Damani, but his skill set wouldn't allow him to take over the game. For the brunt of the season, he had been more of a defensive threat, and in that game, he was trying to dab into the whole offensive threat, and he's not that. You see what I'm saying? He's not that, and I think that ultimately hurt him. All right, he's not an offensive guy. Um, man, and it was so many turnovers. Man, coach had to see. I think if those turnovers, the same ones that happened in the East LA, West LA game, if those same exact turnovers would have happened in game 3, 4, 5, 6, Mosley would have eaten the team alive. And this is my other point. Coach Mosley has to continue to stay intense. It's a marathon. I think he burns himself out. So in the early parts of the season, game 5, game 6, game 12, he's already spent because he done screamed at the top of his lungs. And I watched it. I saw the intensity switch. I saw hyper intense versus, hey man, we're gonna be all right. Grab some rebounds. He was exhausted. And I think Coach Mosley at some point has to realize he has to pace himself, right? He has to pace himself. He was burnt. He was spent. He had nothing else. There was like at least 8 turnovers. I'm just like, dude, this is not good basketball. Bad alley oops. No discipline, right? Um, and then after that, we see that West LA goes on to lose to Grand Valley. I don't remember the name of the school. I forget. Valley State, something with Valley in it. So they go on to lose against something Valley and Grand Valley. I don't know. So some California team, and you watch them lose. They lost by I want to say about 6 points. So West LA does beat East LA, but then they go on to take a loss to Semi Valley, I don't something Valley, and they lose by 6 points. They look like a completely different team. When I watched them play against the Valley team, they were like sliding all over the floor. That discipline that I had grown to like about the team just wasn't there for West LA. And then the Valley team goes on to the final of the championship, the state championships, and gets blown off the floor against uh, City College of San Francisco. I remember that. Now, City College of San Francisco is the same team that absolutely dusted East LA in the beginning of the season. So I think it's safe to say that City College of San Francisco is a powerhouse school. They are a problem. They're a problem. They beat the Valley team. It was like 61-97. It was like some ridiculous number. So City College of San Francisco was balling. Now we saw in the Last Chance U series on the football side, once they looked at one team, they switched to another team, and I'm telling you, it would not surprise me if either West LA or City College of San Francisco was next because I like the dynamic. Now, City College of San Francisco has a white coach, and I'm telling you, he has to be an expert on the X's and O's. You don't beat a team by 20, 30 points in the championship when you're just talking about motivation and rebounds. You gotta, it's a lot of strategy that goes into that. Hey, when he goes into the corner, you trap. Hey, watch out for the zone. Hey, that's strategy. It gotta be X's and O's. Hey, here's the play that this money. They can't stop this. I watched film, right? And that's what it is, man. And you know, like I said, I know I'm criticizing Coach Mosley, but I'm really criticizing myself because we lost the game just like that, second round of playoffs. And I was kind of selfish. I didn't have a coaching staff. I was the only coach. And up until that point, we had gotten pretty far off of my wisdom. I think we were 9-1 in the season, and then went to the play, won the first round of playoffs, and then lost the second round. So overall, we are about 10-2 over the entire season. But yeah, you know, and I got out coached by a coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? It was me versus like 3 people sweating, trying to figure out what I was doing. But I think that in hindsight, I just lacked the ability to adapt. I lacked the ability to call the X's and O's. We were in what was it, 1-3-1 zone. And all I had to do was make one adjustment. After the first half, we were up, I want to say by maybe 6 to 8 points. And then the second half, they just went on a run. They start hitting threes. And it's because they adjusted. We were in a 1-3-1 zone, and they absolutely ate that 1-3-1 zone alive with 3-pointers. All I had to do was call one adjustment, and that one adjustment was man to man. If I would just, if I can just go back to myself and tap myself on the shoulder, and just say, "Hey, man to man," and I heard it, we would have won a championship. There's no question about it. But anyway, that's what happened. So San Francisco. So anyway, City College of San Francisco went off. And then we started to figure out where the players go, and it was kind of cool to see it. We knew this was happening. Brian Penn Johnson, I don't remember the actual name of the school, but he's going to a D1 college. I think it's like Poly Cal or some weird name like that. And he's D1, full ride scholarship. So congratulations to him. I think he knew that was coming because he was balling out. And it was good to see that Damani went to a D2 school. And he's also looking at civil engineering. That was something that him and his father was talking about at the start of the episode. And I want to just say something real quick. I'm so happy that he understands something that's very important. It's called student athlete. So even though basketball is important and you want to make it to the NBA and make millions of dollars, that's cool. But let's not forget that this is college. So even if you don't get on a NBA team, you can still graduate with a degree that will change your life. You might not be a millionaire necessarily overnight, but it will provide a stable income so that you can take care of your family. So I was very happy to see that the money went to a D2 school and then just sell out and say I won't play for anything but a D1. I'm glad he had enough maturity to figure that out. We also saw Josh. He got recruited at a D1. I want to say it was a HBCU D1. And I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. And I forget the name of the school, but it's a common school. It's not a school that's hard to remember. And then this was to me a tragic story. I know, I know people might not see it that way, but I did because Dez wanted to be a good father so bad, and I know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is he's going to take some years away from his son, at least 2 at minimum. And man, those 2 years are going to be so important to his son. And at the same time, I know Dez is trying to make it so that he can, really support his family. But I'm telling them 2 years are going to matter. Those 2 years are going to hurt. They're going to matter so much his son is going to miss from his father. And I think the one thing that makes me happy at the end of the day is that at some point Dez is going to go back. But I just feel like, man, this is a tough go. And it really makes me wish that his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend would move out or let Dez, but he can't because he's a student. So I don't know, man. I guess the moral of the story is just wear protection, man, or just sustain or restrain from having sexual relations because look, that 5 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it might be, it's just not worth it because I think a lot of people, including myself, just did not understand the gravity of sex. It's not just a thing to do to have fun. It's so much more than that. If just one slip up, you can have a whole human being on the planet that you're responsible for. And man, if we just had a little more awareness around that, like, hey, if you can't support yourself, if you're someone who can't put down a NBA 2K controller, you probably should wear protection or just avoid sex altogether. Because we saw in this season, Dez is still a kid himself. He's still playing 2K. To this day, he playing 2K right now online. But you got a son out here, So it's like, I don't know, man. We did see Shamar say that he was not going to come back because he was basically upset with the fact that he didn't get much playing time. But I was not surprised because Shamar was new to the team, and we got to talk about it. Shamar, my man's. I have a love-hate relationship with Shamar. On one hand, I hate the whole hip hop persona. On the other hand, I can see so much talent in this guy, and he stunk up the place in the West LA, East LA game. I think him getting in the game changed the mood and the tempo of his team so drastically that they never recovered. So that was a bad substitution on Mosley's part. Keep him out the game. If you go with your guys, if you're gonna go down with your guys. But it was kind of cool to see that Shamar's gonna return. I'm pretty sure the 2022-2023 season has already started. So at some point, I'm probably going to Google his numbers and see how he's doing this year because I think the season's already started. The same thing happened for DC. Okay, so DC returned, so that's kind of cool. Basically, DC and Shamar are the Deses of the follow or the newest season. So that was kind of cool to see that they returned and they're going to probably contribute greatly. But that's pretty much all I got from this season. I don't know what they're gonna where they're gonna go from here. I think they should check out City College of San Francisco or run it back with East LA. I'm cool with that. I've really enjoyed this team. If you're not going to run it back with East LA, maybe consider West LA. Maybe. Why not? But I definitely want to see at least 1 to 2 more basketball seasons before we pivot to another sport like football, baseball. I don't know. But I definitely want to see one more JUCO. Or if not, or what they're doing last chance. So it wouldn't be NCAA Division I type of team. But still, I would like to see at least one more basketball season. At least. All right. But anyway, thank you for kicking it with your main man, Rick the Dawn. I really appreciate it. Hey, I did what I could. This was a tough season to watch. It was tough because it didn't end the way I expected it. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. But I holler at you. Peace.